Hello, and welcome to the award-winning Bowie Youth Showcase. I'm your host, Jarrell Pittman. We will be right back with the Bowie Youth Showcase news segment with Justice Flora, Christian Jenkins, and Julian Thomas. Then, I get a chance to talk with some very financially literate young ladies. Stay tuned. Hello, and welcome to Bowie Youth Showcase. Thanks for tuning in. We have a great show lined up for you today. We would like to first bring back the BYSN, our news segment of the show, with Justin Flora, Christian Jenkins, and Julian Thomas. You may remember these guys from a previous show all about their STEM experiences and their Mars competition victory. Now they are here to share some news from the community. Take it away, guys.
Hello, and welcome to the Bowie Youth Showcase News.
I'm Justice Flora.
I'm Christian Jenkins.
And I'm Julian Thomas.
And we are your hosts for the Bowie Youth Showcase News segment. On our news today, we will discuss Scouting for All. It's about our local Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, who we are and what we do.
Today, we have two studio guests. Our first guest is Mr. Joe Jenkins. He is the Cub Scout Committee Chairman at Woodstream Church, PAC 1830. Welcome, Mr. Jenkins.
And our second guest is Mr. Benjamin Taylor. Mr. Taylor is the Scoutmaster at Largo Community Church, Troop 29. Welcome, Mr. Taylor. So, Mr. Joe, when were you first exposed to Scouting?
I was first exposed to Scouting as a second grader. I joined my local Cub Scout pack in my neighborhood, and I was able to rise through the ranks in Cub Scouting with a little bit of Boy Scouting, and at this point now I'm a Cub Scout leader. Also,
how can someone join Cub Scouts, and what does it take to become a Cub Scout?
A good question. You can join Cub Scouting a few different ways. You can go online now. They have a live, you can go on online live now and register to become and join a Cub Scout. And basically you just pay your registration fees, and you hook up with your local Cub Scout pack in your neighborhood, or you can come to Cub Scout PAC 1830, which is located at Woodstream Church, and then you just start on your rank requirements at that point, and you go forward.
So, Mr. Jenkins, most boys are interested in, sports, but why choose Scouting?
Well, unlike sports where, there's always just a first place winner, Scouting, you can win regardless of what place you finish in, whether it's first place or last place. It's going to teach you you're going to have a lot of attributes, which are leadership. It's going to help you build your self-esteem, your character, those types of traits, which will, help you to become a productive citizen later on in life.
So tell us a few of the Cub Scouting activities that Cub Scouts participate in.
Well, typically, Cub Scouting, you certainly will, go to camp where you could learn a lot of life skills like first aid. You can learn how to cook. You can learn how to set up your camp area. You learn a little bit about how to protect the environment. Those type of activities. There are also activities where you can go to various universities in the local area and do scout overnighters, like football games and basketball games, where you can learn from professionals in that arena that teach you about nutrition, that type of thing. And then there, ski trips, all types of fun activities. The Pinewood Derby, where Cub Scouts actually prepare their cars by sanding them and painting them and getting them prepared to race. So there's several activities that you can participate in that promote fun.
Now, Mr. Joe, I learned that the Cub Scout motto is "Do your best." What does that mean to you?
Well, Julian, that's a great question. The Cub Scout motto, "Do your best," is just simply means giving your best effort in whatever you do. Whatever you do in life, whatever you do in Cub Scouting, give it your best, give it your all. And more than likely you'll succeed.
Now, I have a very difficult question. We know that there are single moms who have sons. How do they get their sons involved with Cub Scouting?
Well, whether you're a single mom, a single dad, a guardian, a grandparent, aunt, uncle, we have at Cub Scout Pack 1830, we have trained and ready den leaders, men that are men of faith that are prepared and ready and waiting for your son to come, and they're trained to get them ready for scouting and to help them through the Cub Scout program. So we're very much prepared. All you need to do is register them and show up. Absolutely.
So, Mr. Jarrell, could you tell us some where you guys meet, when and where, and could you tell the audience where for additional information like contacts and needs, such like that?
Sure, absolutely. Cub Scout Pack 1830 meets every first and third Friday at Woodstream Church, normally around 7 p.m. to 8:30. And we're located at 9800 Lotchford Road. It's on the corner of Lotchford Road and 202 in Prince George's County, Maryland. And so you can contact myself, or actually you can go on different websites, beascout.org, and you can look for us by typing in Woodstream Church, or you could type in Cub Scout Pack 1830. It'll give you my information. My name is Mr. Joe, or Cub Scout Leader Joe, or Popcorn Joe, whatever you call me. But you can call me by calling me at 240-423-0398, or you can access me through my email at jtcjenkins@yahoo.com. So you can reach me.
So, I'm going to transition into Mr. Taylor with the Boy Scouts. So, Mr. Taylor, when were you first exposed to scouting?
I grew up in Hagerstown, and I was introduced to scouting. I kind of recall having been a wee below, but my Boy Scout experience started when I was about 12, 13 years old.
Also, how long have you been a Scoutmaster, and what motivates you to continue each year?
I've been a Scoutmaster now this is my 12th year. I initially became a Scoutmaster. Well, I initially got involved in the scouting program again when my son was in Boy Scouts, and I just wanted to be there with him and spend time with him. And as he began to transition through scouting, they needed a Scoutmaster, and I became the person who stepped up to take on that role. It's important. It's an important program. It's important to me to be involved in the program, mostly because, as Julian mentioned earlier, it's not like a sporting program, and as Mr. Jenkins mentioned, you don't have to be the #1 guy. I'm often reminded in my scouting experience about an old Armour hot dog commercial, where part of the lyrics of the commercial was fat kids, skinny kids, kids who climb on rocks, which means every kid can be involved in Boy Scouting. You don't have to be the top athlete. You don't have to be the fastest, the strongest. Scouting is for every kid, every young man, every young boy.
Okay. Now, let's just say if a boy wasn't a Cub Scout, how do they join Boy Scouts?
Well, that's a good question. The program is set up so that you make transitions from one section to the next. The Cub Scouting program is all a part of the Boy Scouting program in general. I'm a Boy Scout master. However, our troop has a pack that feeds into our troop. So a Cub Scout would transition to being a wee below, and then from a wee below to being a Boy Scout. And each group is age specific. And so there's an age group, an age range for the Cub Scouts, an age range for wee belows, and then you transition into scouting, and we have an age range as well.
Okay, now I heard that the Boy Scout motto is always be prepared. What does that mean to you?
Well, always be prepared to me means just that. Life throws a lot of curves, and scouting introduces you to a lot of different experiences, which allow you then to be prepared for those curves. And you may not always hit a home run, but at least you're going to know how to handle a situation or have an idea of how to handle a situation when it presents itself.
Okay. Now I had an opportunity to speak to a few Boy Scouts about their experiences. Let's hear what they had to say.
What is your overall rank goal for scouting?
My rank goal for scouting is to become an Eagle Scout and to help other scouts.
So scouting's been a big part of my life, actually. It gave me like a brotherhood to live.
Enjoying camping is just the overall experience, like being outside, not being trapped indoors all the time playing your Xbox.
I think scouting overall, it makes men. Like, you come in as a boy, you leave as a man. That's what scouting is to me. I feel like you learn things that prepare you for life. That's basically it.
Now, how has scouting changed your life?
Scouting has got me to do more activities that I don't think I ever would have ended up doing.
Would you tell other boys to join Boy Scouts?
Yes, because one, it's a good feeling when you see like something strive for greatness, like you see something grow over time. And it's like a good feeling when you encourage someone to do something good.
So how has scouting how's it had a lasting impact?
I think scouting's had a lasting impact on me because the things I learned in scouting I was able to use in life growing up and in my early adulthood, and even as an older person. A day hardly goes by where I don't give some thought to scouting. Little things you do it unconsciously, but you do it because it's embedded in you. And I'm saying that scouting is very impactful. With me it was, because I loved it, and the things I learned and the people I met really impressed me. They encouraged me. It's like going to college, really. It's very impactful. College is impactful. Scouting was impactful.
Now, Mr. Taylor, I have a very difficult question to ask you. There are fathers absent from their homes. Many young men do not know how to be prepared. What role does Boy Scouts feel in playing that void?
Well, first of all, what it does is it allows these young boys to interact with their peers. It allows you to interact with other young boys who may come from similar environments. There are men of faith who are involved in the program as leaders and mentors, and who establish lifelong relationships with these young boys, who can help guide them through boyhood into manhood, giving them guidance and direction when needed. It's a great program, particularly for those boys who don't have that male perspective in their life.
So, Mr. Taylor, for scouts to always be prepared, there's a lot of work and ranking involved to go up to Eagle Scout. Could you talk about the process from starting as a scout and going to Eagle?
Certainly. First of all, the age range for scouts is 12 to 18. There are some exceptions where 11-year-olds who are in the 5th grade can transition into scouting at that time. Scouting starts at the scout rank, which was newly implemented about a year ago or so. And you work your way up from scout to tenderfoot to 2nd class to 1st class to star to life and then to eagle. There are certain rank requirements that you have to earn, and rank requirements are very much, there's a lot of emphasis on rank requirements in the first 4 ranks: scout, tenderfoot, 2nd class, and 1st class. After 1st class, when you become a star, that's when the leadership focus, the focus becomes on leadership. So as a scout, you need to, there are community service requirements, there are things you have to learn, first aid requirements, how to tie certain knots, orienteering, which is using a compass and a map to find your directions. Those types of things that are important. And then as you transition into the leadership side at STAR, you're more leading these young scouts until you make Eagle.
I spent some time with Mr. David Lai, a marriage badge counselor, and he shared the importance of merit badges in scouting. Let's hear what he had to say.
Absolutely critical, especially like for Eagle Scouts, but more so for just general life skills. So the merit badge program covers so many different skills, ranging from first aid to hiking, swimming, like even citizenship. So it's more than just about advancing within Boy Scouts. It's really about learning good life lessons. How much effort does it take? It definitely does take dedication. So every merit badge has its own requirements and different time commitments. Some people do multiple merit badges simultaneously, but it definitely does take a type of commitment and dedication to continuing with the merit badge program and also to advance and rank within Boy Scouts. It's not something that happens overnight, and you definitely do need to do it before you turn age 18. So it's about strategically scheduling your pathway through and also making sure that you stay focused on whatever you do begin.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins and Mr. Taylor, for joining us on this news segment. Remember, Woodstream Church, Cub Scout Pack 1830 meet every first and third Friday and Largo Community Church, True 29 Boy Scouts meet every Friday at 7 p.m. Please come back in the future to tell us more about Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts. See you next time with more exciting news in the community. This has been your news segment portion of the Bowie Youth Showcase.
Everywhere that we go, he makes people laugh and makes people smile, and I feel like I have that quality.
He's the one who always takes me fishing. I watch golf with him. And
I watch him cook, because when I grow up, I want to be a cook too.
We have the same faces like this.
Dad is the one, when you fall, that picks you up.
That unconditional sense of presence and reassurance is really what makes him my father.
And welcome back. Thanks Justice, Christian, and Julian for sharing your news stories. Next, we have some very special guests. Alana, age 12, and Jayla, age 8, are two homeschool students who are participants in the stock market game. They are here to talk about their experience being homeschooled and becoming financially literate along the way. Hello, Alana and Jayla. Thanks for joining us. And we have Mom here today with us as well.
Hello.
So how about we just start off you introducing yourselves to the audience.
Okay. Hi, I'm Alana. I'm age 12. I'm in 8th grade. This fall, I'll be going to University of Nebraska to go to high school. I'll actually be doing it online.
Wow, okay. And hello, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Jayla. I'm 8 years old, and I'm in 4th grade. And next year, I'll be going to 5th.
Okay. And Mom, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Okay, so you said that you are in the 8th grade and next year you will be doing high school online at a university.
Yes.
How did you go about getting into that program?
Well, first I wanted to go to an actual real high school, but I didn't know how I would feel in that environment since I haven't been in there so long. Mm-hmm. So I just asked my mom and she said we can do it online. So we looked in a few places, and Nebraska and Indiana, actually, the University of Indiana said that they accept homeschool students. Okay. So we picked the University of Nebraska because they had a lot of information and more teachers and professors that can help me out with this instead of Indiana.
Wow, so how long have you two been homeschooled?
I have been homeschooled since the age of 6, so I'm 12. That's 6 years that I've been homeschooled.
Okay.
And I've been homeschooled since I was 1.
So have either of you ever went to a traditional school?
I have. I actually went to a school, I can't remember the name right now.
Okay.
But I went to a school and I always went to playgrounds. I had like 5 friends each class. At the cafeteria, I would just play around and just circle around the cafeteria.
Okay.
So I was near the school.
Okay, so for the people who never either experienced homeschool or known anyone experienced homeschool, describe a normal day for a homeschool student.
I guess we start at 7:30. We get up and get dressed. We do yoga to relax ourselves, and then we get dressed. We have breakfast at 8:30. Then we get our day started at 9:30. We go down to our din area, our schoolroom, and we start with introductions first. Then we start with art, English, regular school, activities like history and math. Then we go to we just finished meteorology, and we just learned the art of writing, different types of writing, and we mostly do the regular routine of school, like they do in prep school.
Okay. And Jayla, so how does it feel to be learning alongside Alana?
Well, it feels inspiring because I don't really know how to explain it, but it feels like
So you get to like watch your sister and you're aspiring to work hard like she does?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. So, Mom, how is it, what do the difficulties lie in running the homeschool program?
Wow, there's a lot. Because they're your children, you do understand their hearts. So you do kind of give them a little leeway sometimes because you know what their weaknesses are, and you know what their strengths are. So sometimes you kind of extra push them because you know that they can excel at what they're doing, or they can go way beyond what they think their capabilities are. The struggles are learning which curriculum works for which child. You can't use the same curriculum because just like with child pregnancy, it's not the same. Your child is not the same. Your pregnancy is the same. They don't eat the same thing, so you can't feed them the same information. So that becomes a little difficult, especially with curriculum being costly. So yeah, the curriculum is the biggest struggle.
And how do you overcome the difficulty with the grade difference?
Well, what you could do, and in my case, because my kids are 4 years apart, I teach the same thing. So when we're doing meteorology, I'm teaching basically the same things, just on different levels at the same time. So we're getting so if one does a project, I'll go above and beyond with Alana. So she'll have to do an extra 700 words on her report, or she has to do an extra experiment versus the one Jayla does, which is on an elementary level.
Okay. So for the average person who goes to traditional school, they would think of homeschool as, like you said, just waking up and doing work at home. So tell the audience about some other activities you're involved in as a homeschool student.
At our community where we live, there's actually a homeschool PE class that we get to play around. We skate, we do rugby, we play frisbee, we do soccer. We even get to do rock wall afterward and skate around.
Wow.
We don't really stay inside the house, so we're mostly outside doing adventures and field trips.
Wow.
So mostly, since we're outside the house, we're using life and outside and what we're doing as a lesson. So we're not really in books.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So Jayla, what's one of your favorite activities that you like to do?
Well, my favorite activity in school and outside of school is art, because I get to draw the things in my imagination and express it.
Wow. So field trips, tell me about those. I'm pretty sure if your PE class includes skating and all the other incredibly awesome sounding things that you just described. I know the field trips could be incredible as well. So what type of field trips have you guys taken?
Well, just, oh my, at the beginning of April, we went to an Air and Space Museum to see different planes. We actually saw a prototype of a NASA rocket used in night when it first started. I can't really think of the date. Okay. We go to botanical gardens. Jayla knows how to grow rice. She also knows how to name different ingredients and different brands and know what they are. We have gone to the monuments twice. Then we went to the Jefferson Memorial and the Abraham Lincoln Memorial. Let's see, there's like 100 things we do. We went to the African American Museum, where we go to the bank back and forth. We actually learn more about the financial things than regular kids do, because we're mostly in the bank.
Yeah.
And we actually get to go back and forth into different places and learn different types of ethnicities. And see different cultures come together, and then we experience that and put it in our reports that we write.
Wow, that sounds incredible. So you talked about being in the banks and learning financial literacy. So tell me a little bit of what you actually learned from doing the stock market game.
What I've learned is to save money. I have learned that you can lose a lot of money as well. Right now, I have just invested in McDonald's and Panera.
Okay.
Panera and McDonald's just gave me a 26% increase on my money. So now I lost like $11.64, but now I've gained over $364.
Wow.
Thanks to Panera and McDonald's getting new owners and promoting their businesses more. So I'm learning to be patient, because I lose a lot of money, but also I'm learning to balance out the different types of stocks.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So Jayla, your sister talked about learning how to save. So what are some of the saving methods that you've learned?
Saving our 5s, dimes, so we can go on vacation, have retirement funds.
Wow. 8 years old and already thinking about retirement. That is really ahead of the game.
And for college and high school.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what could you tell some of your peers about saving money and about the stock market game and just learning about financial literacy all around? What can you tell some of your peers?
Well, I would say learning about financial literacy is kind of new, because when we first started, we saw this huge banner in the bank when I was 4 years old, and I saw this huge banner that said financial literacy, and I asked my mom what that meant. She said it's like she taught me that it's assets and liabilities. Assets are green, so she taught me that they're green.
Okay.
Liabilities are red. So I did this funny joke. I asked my mom I asked her, "Mom, are you a liability to Dad's pocket?" And she was astounded. There you go. But I learned that if you have a small amount of cash and you want to learn to save and stuff, it's okay. Because if you think of it, I have started saving, and it's kind of good.
Thank you, ladies, so much for coming on the show and sharing with our audience about your homeschooling and financial literacy, and I'll definitely be taking some of those saving tips for myself. Once again, we would like to thank our audience at home for tuning in. Bowie Youth Showcase is designed to inspire, uplift, educate, and empower our youth. We hope you have enjoyed the show today. See you next time.